Be Bold podcast. This is Court.
This is Ashley, and we're coming at you live from Boston with a guest from LA.
Fresh off the plane, fresh off the bus, and the train.
All three. I was literally telling her that I don't remember when was the last time that I took the subway, because in LA it's terrible. And today I've been on a plane, I've been on a train, I've been on a bus.
She's having a really full immersive city experience, Miss LA girl over there. But let's welcome our guest of today's episode, Miss Iolanda Russo. Hello.
Hello, guys. I am so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you.
And today, let's just give a little preface to what's going to be going on and why Iolanda is joining us. First off, I am so blessed to have you in my life. I was connected with Iolanda through my company. As y'all know, I run an ambassador program, and Iolanda has a small business. So that was really the initial introduction. But you and I just kind of hit it off the bat, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah, oh, 100%. No, 100%. Like, and when you come to LA, like, I always let you know that for you to tell me that you're there, and we hang out, and I love it.
Exactly. So that's how our relationship started. But honestly, Yolanda's just a very special human. She's a very young person that's accomplished a lot in her life. She has a lot of really cool stories, and a common theme that I've noticed, which is why I wanted to bring you on the podcast today, is you're a risk taker. Like, you probably don't even realize that you're a risk taker, but you've done a lot of things in your life that I think a lot of people would be afraid to do. And so I just want you to come on the pod today. And Ashley doesn't know a lot of these stories. I have the luxury of knowing, but like, I'm just going to be low-key a fly on the wall and watch Ashley's reactions to everything that comes out of this girl's mouth, because boy, does she have a lot to share and some amazing content. So without further ado, I just kind of gave you a little intro. But Iolanda, who are you? How would you describe yourself? Give us a little high-level overview in corporate terms.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited to be here and so honored. I think it's so cool what you guys are doing. Like, this is a lot of work, so you guys are also really special for like taking on this and keep it going, because I feel like with every business, because you know this ends up being a business, with every business, it takes the consistency and like the fact that you guys are on episode what now?
45.
That's insane. That's like so many hours of editing. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. That's insane. But well, about me, who am I? I don't know. I'm just a girl from Portugal that moved to LA 5 years ago, that started a business, has a husband and 2 dogs, and that's it.
And how old are you?
I am 28.
28.
How old are you guys?
25.
24.
Oh my God. Guys, it's crazy. I feel like after 22, 23, like, the years just go by.
It's all,
yes, you can't tell who's 23, 24, or 28, you know.
Yeah. You also are just, not that 28 is old at all, but you look so young. Like,
I love
feel
that.
Like I have
love
more wrinkles
that.
than you do.
Stop, no.
It's the Portuguese.
Maybe.
Okay, so I heard you have a very interesting marriage story. You got married very young, and I want the tea.
Yes. So I met my husband back in 2017 when I was traveling. So after college, I decided to take a couple months to just travel before I got a real girl job. And so at the time I was working for Red Bull, saved all that money. By the way, I was in Portugal, so like the money you make is so little. I had to save for so many months to be able to have some like extra money to travel. But I've always wanted to do that. Then summer came, my parents have restaurants, and I was like, I'm gonna work all 3 months of summer to just make all that money. And saved probably like $3,000 and took a one-way flight to Thailand, where I ended up staying for almost 4 months.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's a long time.
And I was able to make those $3,000 last for 4 months. That's how cheap traveling in Asia. I feel like people have this perception that it's so expensive to travel in Asia, and it's so cheap. So, went to Thailand, started in Thailand, did Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, all those cool countries in the Southeast Asia part. He posted a story on his Instagram with a song in the background. And I was like, oh my God, the song is so cool. What is it? And he said, Anthony Russo, Ghost Stories. And I was like, okay, thanks. I added it to my SoundCloud. I was listening to SoundCloud at the time. I don't know if I had Spotify, but I remember that I was listening to it on both Spotify or SoundCloud. I can't remember, but I know he was kind of like doing his thing on SoundCloud. But was listening to his song a lot and loved it. And then one day I remember thinking to myself, like, you know what? Like, I love this guy, this artist, Anthony Russo. This was probably my last 2 weeks in Asia.
Are you listening to just this one song, or did he have like a bunch of music?
Just one song.
Okay.
And I didn't even know if he had other songs or if he was a big artist or small artist. Never heard of this guy ever. And so I was like, let me go on Instagram and research this guy. Like, I literally remember having this thought. And I feel like all these things stayed in my memory because, you know, I got married him. But
spoiler alert.
Yes, spoiler alert. But, so one day I was like, let me see who this guy is. Went on Instagram. I was like, oh my God, he's so cute. And at the time, I mean, whoever knows Anthony today, like, he does not go really on Instagram because he has not a lot of patience for it. But at the time, he had a manager that was always like telling him to take photos, and he would do all these photo shoots. So this like really cute guy, blue-eyed guy in LA making music with a cute voice. And I was like, oh my God, so cute. I'm gonna follow. So I followed, liked a couple of his posts, and then a couple days later, I know for a fact, I sent him a DM saying that I loved his song. And I didn't think much of it. I don't even know why I sent it. Kind of random. Like, what am I thinking? Like, this person's going to respond. Like, oh, thanks. And that was it. Normally, like, people would say, oh, thanks for letting me know. And that was it. So he responded. He was like, oh, my God, I love your photos. What are you doing? And I was like, oh, my God, what is going on? So he responded. I'm, like, super excited. I respond back. And that same day, he was like, oh, can I have your number? And I was like, what? Okay. Yeah, sure. So gave him my number. I'm giving a lot of details. So you guys, I'm giving a lot of details.
No,
you guys,
I want the details.
Oh, you want the details?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Whatever is not worth keeping, slash it.
Cut the fat.
Cut the fat. This needs to be your new saying because cut the fat.
Too visual. I like it. So Anthony posted an Instagram reel like 2 days ago, and it was this highly produced like ASMR vlog of him on tour. And I asked her, I go, Yolanda, did you edit that? Like, that was nice. She's like, no, like, he did it. But originally, he sent it to me, and it was 2 minutes long. And I told him, cut the fat.
Yes, that's where it started, the cut the fat.
Yeah, literally. Okay, back to your story.
Back to my story. So he responded. He was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I see you're traveling the world. So nice. I've been wanting to do that for the longest time. Amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I was telling him, oh, yeah, I'm just like, before I get a corporate job, at the time I was 22. I had just finished college. And I just wanted to travel before getting a job. I was like, oh, my God, that's so cool. And then he was telling me he was from Missouri. I think I didn't even know Missouri was a place. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of it. I don't know why you would. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just this girl from Portugal. I've never been to the States at that point. I've been to, like, Mexico and a couple places around here. But I didn't know much about the States. And so, yeah, we talked for like a day. And then the next day, he's like trying to FaceTime me. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little weird. Like, we can text, but like, I don't even speak English very well. Like, my English, I have videos of myself back in Asia explaining things in English, and you would not recognize me. You would not.
What? That's crazy to
think
about.
I lost my accent so much. It's kind of crazy. So he tries to FaceTime like 3 times in the period of 2 days. I'm like, oh my God, like, this guy will not let go. Like, he's really pursuing. And so...
Wait, so did you answer these FaceTimes,
like,
or you just let them go?
Probably no, I was always making an excuse. I was like, oh, I'm hiking. Oh, I don't have a lot of battery. Oh, you know. Yeah. I was always giving an excuse. And then one time, I was kind of tipsy because I had been drinking. And I was like, oh, I'm going to answer, whatever. So I answered. We're on the phone for like 4 hours. Amazing. Like, oh my God, like, he's so interesting. I don't know. I'm sure you guys been through that phase where you're getting to know someone and it's so exciting.
Yes.
And so talked for a while, talked for a day or two, and then probably a week after we talked for the first time, like after I DM'd him, a week from that point. I was also a little bit tipsy again.
And so alcohol's involved in the risk taking.
But honestly, I feel like alcohol unless it's like an extreme alcoholic state, I feel like a little tipsy just brings out who you really are. At least for me, I rarely drink. Like I would say like a healthy relationship in general with alcohol because I don't drink very often, but when I drink, I have a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, so I feel like all my stories where I take my risks, they involve a little like, I don't know, a little Moscow Mule or something.
Liquid courage.
Yes. So we were talking. It was like nighttime in LA, and it was morning not morning, probably it was afternoon for me to be drinking, clearly. And he was like, we're talking, and I told him like, hey, we're kind of like moving a little too quick, and this is a little weird. Like, I have no plans of ever going to California. I'm sure you have no plans.
So he's in LA this whole time. And
he's in LA, and I'm in Thailand.
With like this time difference and everything.
Yes, like 12 hours, something crazy.
Wow.
So it was, I don't really remember what it was, but like it would be nighttime in LA, 2 a.m., and it would be like 4 p.m. in Thailand, like really, really different. So crazy time difference. And I tell him, I'm really honest. I'm like, I feel like we're texting like a couple. Like, this is a little weird. And let's be realistic. Like, although you're so interesting and like you're a musician, like you do all these exciting things that I'm very like intrigued about, and I want to know more about. Let's be realistic to the fact that I'm, 22 years old. I'm about to go back to Portugal after a 4-month trip that it was very exciting, but also, life, I need to get a job and get my life going. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to talk. And I was genuinely saying this. Like, I was not expecting him to be like, no, like this, no. Like, I was not expecting that, right? Because it's like, I've been talking to this guy for a week. Yeah. I was just like, all right, I'm sure, like, I literally in my head, I thought, you know what? He's a musician. One time, he will go to Portugal. Maybe I'll meet him. Who knows? It was kind of like that. So when I told him, he was like, no, like, let's keep talking. I'll visit you in Portugal after tour. And this was in December, and he was going on tour in March. So it wasn't that long, but at the same time, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know how, like, that's going to happen.
We don't need to talk for that long.
Yeah, we don't need to talk for that long. Yeah. So me being tipsy, I was like, why don't you come to Thailand tomorrow? To which he said, okay.
What?
Yes. Then I tell him, come to Thailand the next day. He actually had a wedding. So this was like a Friday. He had a wedding on Saturday, and he booked his flight for Sunday. And let me say this.
This man must have been in love with you from the start.
100%. And so was I. But it was kind of like that love that, like, you need to take the risk to really be sure. You know what I mean? So when you're kind of like, you're either so in love, but sometimes it's just like, we call it in Portuguese, like, let me translate it. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense, but in Portuguese we call it like fire of sight, which is like, you think you're really in love with this person, but then like if things end, you're like, oh, all right. But if you take the risk, it's like, oh, I really love this person. I don't know if this made a lot of sense, but I feel like with us, it was a lot of things could have ended of just us being like, all right, like it was great talking to you for a week. Bye. Yeah. And that was it. But because we took on all these risks, things progressed to literally 5 years after, and I'm here now. But so he was literally like, yes, okay. So he booked his flight that night, like an insane flight, 24-hour flight. I always like to mention this. He's never been out of the country at this point. He's 22 years old. His parents are from Missouri. His parents never really traveled. He's never traveled with his parents. The only place he's been was Mexico spring break. Doesn't count as being out of the country. No. So he's flying to Thailand. Everyone in his life is like, you're out of your mind. He went to Thailand. We had the most amazing, and he could only go for 5 days. He literally traveled 24 hours to be there for like 5 days. He got to Thailand. We had the most amazing week ever.
What was it like when you first saw each other?
We kissed each other. It was literally like, we saw each other and we ran into each other and kissed like a movie, but it was natural.
This is not real life.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
This is certainly a fairy tale. Yeah, like this is not normal.
I love telling this. I feel like people love knowing this story, and I love telling it. But I mean, obviously I don't want to take away the fairy tale from it, but I feel like a lot of people listen to this like, oh my God, I'll never have anything like this. This is so much special than whatever I have. But it's not. Like, we're just the most normal couple ever.
Yeah.
That have the most normal life ever. So, yeah.
So how did you get from Thailand/Portugal to living in LA?
So then he left after 5 days, left to LA. I left to Portugal, and we're kind of, okay, we had this amazing week, but also it's just a week, right? Because now, okay, we're talking about taking risks. So we talked for a week, and he took the risk of taking a flight. And now it's like, okay, but in order for us to make this work, we need to do something, right?
Yeah,
like, because
make a plan.
Yeah, because we're literally 15 hours away from each other.
That's insane.
You can't see someone, you can't do long distance like that. I feel like it's so hard.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the States, you'll take a quick flight and, you figure it out, and it's cheaper, but going to the other side of the world, it's so hard. So then we saw each other I honestly don't know how I financially made it work, but again, I think lucky girl syndrome, like money just appeared. Oh, okay, this is actually crazy. So at this point I was broke because I had my trip, and it was my birthday, and it's been a month that I haven't seen him, and it's my birthday. And I mean, whole another side story, I'm adopted, and I don't get along with my biological father at all. And it was my birthday. I'm broke, okay? I lived at my parents' apartment, so I didn't pay for rent. Very lucky about that, but I had $0 in my account. It's my birthday. My biological dad texts me saying, like, happy birthday, I just put $1,000 into your account. I'm like, what? He's never given me any money ever. And I'm like, Anthony, this is a sign. I need to buy a flight to LA.
Oh my God.
So then I bought a flight to LA. And
How long after this was?
A month and a half.
A month and a half, okay.
Yeah, a month and a half. Then we saw each other after a month and a half, came to the States for the first time, stayed in LA for a week, and then another month and a half went by, and saw Anthony in Boston. It was the first time that I saw his show was in Boston. I flew to Boston from Portugal, which is such a
Cheap
quick flight
too.
and cheap, yeah. So that was another month and a half. So here we're at like 3 months, right? So we're dating at like 3 months. And then I went back to Portugal after my trip visiting him. He has his show here. I went back to Portugal. He went to LA. I got a job. I had gotten a job at this marketing company making, you guys are going to be shocked, making $650 a month. That's how much people make in Portugal.
Oh my God.
Yes, $650 a month with a college degree, university degree.
That's insane.
Insane. It's so bad. But anyway, whatever, right? Life goes on. That's what it was going on in Portugal. That's what I'm doing. And then one day we were just like, Anthony was like, I think you should just move here. And I was, okay, great, I will. And
say less.
And here's the thing.
Bags are packed.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for the invite. No, but on a serious note, I always knew that I didn't want to live in Portugal because, like, it's just a country not great for young people that want to, like, work and make money. We kind of talked and we were like, all right, let's go. Let's just move. And I ended up moving. And then, moved on a tourist visa. So when you come here, you have 3 months to kind of figure out what you're going to do. So in those 3 months...
Were you living with him or did you get your own place?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm literally
no
broke. Girl, I'm broke. I'm like, if you love me, you want to be with me. Yeah.
You have to pay for me, too.
Yes. No, literally. That is definitely something that really amazing in our relationship. Like, we were so young. And we were really just thrown, like, figure it out. Because I couldn't work for a year. I'll get there. Okay. But, so I moved here, 3 months visit. We're like, okay, what am I going to do? So I was thinking of doing an internship visa, which is called J1. It's an internship visa to be in the States for 2 years, and you're just doing an internship. And you get paid, too, miserably, but you get paid and you get a visa. So we're like, okay, let's do that. And I was going to do that with the company, but that ended up falling through in the last month of me being able to be here as a tourist. One day we were just like, we talked to a bunch of lawyers and everyone was like, you have to get married. Like, you have to get married. This is America. And you have to get married. Either make it or break it, you have to get married. And we're kind of like, We're dating for 6 months. We're 23 at this time. Like, I mean, I don't even remember what I thought at the time, but it's like, it's a lot, right? It's like, oh my God, so much commitment.
Were you terrified, or did it feel right? Did you feel
Here's
like
the
have
thing.
a gut feeling, or were you just not even putting that much thought into it? You're like, I need to do this. So
Yeah, it was a mix of everything. I feel like a lot of like, what are we doing? Like, what is
we
this
really
big
doing
decision?
this?
Are we really doing this? Then we have the part of us that were like absolute butterflies. Like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Let's get married today. And then the part of us that's like, this is a long life decision. Like, even if we got divorced, like you will always be divorced to that person. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just a breakup. It's another layer. But anyway, we did it at the time. We were just like, all right, let's call this sign the papers. We won't tell anyone. And then one day later, we'll do a wedding. And we're like, okay, that sounds good. But still, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, like kind of crazy. But I also, on another note, in Portugal, we don't really have that like getting a ring, doing a wedding as much as there is in America and that I see now that I live here. We don't really have that. In fact, in Portugal, most people have kids before they get married. Mm-hmm. So I think the importance that people put in marriage is a little bit less in Portugal. So I didn't put that much like importance in that, I guess. And knowing Anthony, he's the most like carefree, whatever. Yeah, let's get married tomorrow. So, I mean, we talked about it. We're like, let's just do it. Whatever, let's just do it. And it was kind of like, all right, we've been dating for 6 months. It's definitely very early. We would not do it if it wasn't for our circumstance. But our circumstance says that we have to do it. So let's just do it. So we went to a place called Same Day Marriage.
No way.
Did you know that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Same day. That exists?
I'm so shook.
It's a very cute chapel. Cute.
So like Vegas feeling?
Yes, very Vegas feeling in LA. So yeah, we went to this place. We thought we were only going to actually sign papers, like marriage papers. Like, okay, I accept to marry this person. But no, you have to do vows. So I need to show you a picture whenever I find my phone. But okay. I was literally in jeans and a crop top and Adidas slides. Adidas slides. And no. Anthony, we were getting ready to go to the beach or something. And Anthony had shorts, a cheetah, like button up, terrible, orange Vans, and like a hat. He got married in a hat. Red flags.
Oh my God.
Insane. So yeah, we got married, had one witness. One of our friends was the witness. And that was that. That happened in 2018.
And how was everyone's parents feeling about it?
I feel like our parents probably had a lot of thoughts, but it was kind of like, you kind of have, as a parent, you kind of have to choose. Do I want to be against my kid, or do I just want to like let my kid do whatever they want because I cannot change anything about it? You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times when parents go against you, the only thing that happens is that you still do it and you get upset with them. Totally. So I feel like in a way they probably had an opinion, but they were like,
they didn't voice
all
it.
right. Okay, guys, you guys do whatever you got to do. But I'm sure, like, after 6 months at 23, everyone's like...
Had you guys met each other as, like, mother and father-in-laws?
Yes. Okay. Yes, we have. So Anthony had met my parents, although my parents don't speak English, so they could not communicate.
each other.
Yes. Basically, their relationship was my mom giving food to Anthony and Anthony eating it. That was it. That's their only, like, relationship is food. And then I met his parents, like, once. So, yeah. That's crazy. And we got married.
When Court said you were a risk taker, like I was like, oh, okay, like cool, like I'm excited to leave. That is so not. I was not expecting like that story. Like I'm shook.
I love it.
And how many years now? Happily married? That could have gone so south.
It's going. I don't know if it's gonna be 5 or 6. 2018, 5. We're gonna be 5 years married in August. Yeah.
And
how crazy is that?
That is so
I'm
wild.
28, 5 years married.
We'll have to flash up some photos of like your engagement photos.
Oh, yes.
Because before I like really befriended you, but like I started following you, I was like, you're kidding me.
You saw
like,
this
is the
photos?
Most gorgeous thing. Like your caption was just like, you could tell how genuine your relationship is and just feel the love even from a photo. So it's so beautiful, and thank God for him, because that's why you're in Boston right now.
I am in Boston because he's playing a show at the Sonia. Is it Sonia?
It's a venue in Cambridge.
Yes.
I don't know if I've
It's
been,
a really
but it sounds
small
familiar.
venue in, it's not a super small venue, but it's a relatively small venue in Sonia. So he's performing. And I've been to Boston 3 times he's been to Boston performing. I have been here. So at this point, it's like religious.
Yeah,
and as soon as I told you, you know what? Like, I thought about it, but I was like, no, I'm not going to self-invite myself to her podcast. But I was like, it would be so fun. And then you mentioned it, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so down.
And you know what you forgot to tell us, unless you have something to say about this.
No.
So when I saw Iolanda, or right when you got here, you called me and you're like, I have this crazy story to tell you, but I'm not going to tell you until we get on the podcast.
Yes.
And we were so excited to jump into the episode that we didn't get to that. So
Yes, I know. I was thinking about it. Okay, I need to tell you guys a
take
story.
the
So
floor.
I'm getting off. By the way, I have 2 miniature dachshunds, like wiener dogs. So I have 2. And I'm obsessed with those dogs. Love them. So I got off the bus, and I like literally got off the bus, turned around, and as soon as I turned around to go to where need to go, there's a crosswalk. So as I'm getting to the crosswalk,
Wait, you have your dogs with you?
no.
Okay.
So I don't have my dogs. I was just prefacing, like, I love dachshunds.
Okay.
So as I'm crossing the crosswalk, I see a dachshund, and I was like, oh my God, so beautiful. Like, every time I see dachshund, I'm just like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. So I literally, they're coming in my direction. I'm like, I'm so ready to say hi, because I'm just like that. I'm so ready to say hi. And as soon as that dog is approaching, that dog's using a FURLOU leash.
No way.
No way.
And that has been a goal of mine for the past 3 years that I've owned a business, that I need to randomly, like on the street, find someone using FURLOU products. So that has never happened.
Are you serious?
And it happened for the first time in Boston today.
Stop. And it was on your dog. Not your dog, but the dog that you have.
Yes,
Dachshund.
the same kind of dog that I like. And I was looking at the dog regardless because it was so cute. And then as I approached, I took a photo. As I approached,
Did you say something?
oh my God, 100%. And she recognized me. And I was super awkward. I was like, oh, hi. and I mean, she recognized me right away. And she's like, oh, this is Butters. And I recognized the dog from Instagram. And I'm like, how the heck? I have been in this state in like 5 minutes, and I'm seeing someone using my products. It was literally insane. I was so happy.
Like a full circle.
Was that what you were
moment.
thinking?
No. Well,
Okay.
I thought someone was going to recognize you from
Oh,
TikTok
okay,
and
okay.
Instagram and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize, like, the dog component to it just adds a whole other level.
I know, it has been a goal of mine, and it had never happened. I mean, it did happen once, but it was like someone was coming to see me, and that person it wasn't really the same thing.
Yeah.
And this, like, I'm in Boston. I don't even know. And that dog is
That's
from
the
New
other side
York.
of the country.
Oh, that dog's from New York. It's not
Oh
even
my
from Boston.
God.
I was then talking to her. Insane. I was like,
Boston
oh my
is your
God.
city. Maybe you guys
I
should
feel like
move
Boston
here.
is my city.
It could be.
I'm always saying, like, I feel like if I lived in a busy city, it would be like Boston. I love it. It's really good.
That was a perfect segue into the next part of the episode, which we want to talk about your business. So clearly you took a lot of risks in love, which has like led you to a happy marriage at the age of 28. I'm like, what? Question mark,
Happy
exclamation point.
Happy marriage.
Yeah, literally. But you're also a really successful business owner, and you just opened up a retail store in West Hollywood this past year. Like, how? The last time I was in LA, it was for her grand opening, and then I ended up missing her grand opening.
Because it was raining.
Because it rained, and she had to move her
The day.
day to another day. But I'm personally just so proud of you, and I want to hear how you even started your business. Like, what was that aha moment that you needed to do it, and like, how did you do that, you know?
Yeah. So I always knew that I wanted to have a business. I feel like in this generation that we're in, like having a small business is something kind of, I don't want to say cool because that even sounds bad, but it's something that you see it as possible, and I feel like a lot of people want it, but people never go for it. And the generation that we're on really, like, you see these things becoming possible, and so you get motivated and you believe that it can happen to you. When I got my visa, because I couldn't work for a year, when I got my visa, the first job that I saw, I applied and I got it, and it was Bank of America. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I was working at Bank of America, and I knew I always wanted to have a business. But to be honest, and I'm sure a lot of people our age feel like that when you just don't really know what your passion is, right? Like, we have this pressure of knowing what our passion is, and a lot of people have nice hobbies, but I never really had any hobbies. Never really played any sports or anything like that. So I knew I wanted to have a business, didn't know what. And at that time, I had just gotten my dog. So that was kind of like part of my personality was being a dog mom. So I was like, how can I just mix being a dog mom and having a business? So I kind of just saw a gap in the industry of like cute dog accessories, like aesthetic dog leashes and accessories for dogs. And I just got to work really and like did a bunch of research of like, all right, if I want to start a dog business, what am I going to sell? So like kind of taking inspiration and like of materials, trying to find suppliers to do samples, all of that. Kind of just, that was probably a process of like, I want to say 6 or 7 months, like trying to figure out what am I going to sell, right? Like you need to plan where you're going to sell.
How did you even find suppliers?
Or online.
Like just Googling.
Yeah. So for example, my leashes are cotton, and cotton is really like cotton production is really big in India. So my rope leashes are made in India. So it's kind of, you really just have to like research.
Go down a rabbit hole probably.
Yes, get in a rabbit hole. And then like, also before I figured out my Indian supplier who I've been working with for a while, I did so many samples before that I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like I had to go through the process of experiencing with different suppliers until I was like, okay, this is not it. But yeah, lots of research. And then once you have the product, it's just the fun part of like creating a name, starting a website, all of that. And I feel like, the first year of me owning a business, I barely made any money. I barely did any sales. Everything was very immature, like photos. I mean, if you scroll down to my Instagram, you really see an evolution, which is what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So yeah, I started really small, doing it on the side, having like a sale a week, making $30 a week or something. And then COVID hit. And so I started my business in November 2019. COVID hit in April. And I was home for so long. People were getting a ton of dogs. And it was kind of the perfect potion for me to really dedicate myself to my business.
Quick interjection. Were you working for Bank of America at this time as you were doing all the research and starting it off, or no?
No. So I was working at Bank of America, but then I wanted a part-time, and I started being a personal assistant. Oh, nice. So I was doing like part-time, kind of like hourly pay, $25 an hour job. Like,
so you could have more time to dedicate to
your business. Because
you knew you wanted to do it full force. You weren't trying to have the security of a job and see if your business stuck. You literally just dove right into it.
I mean, to be honest, I dreaded office life, and I knew I would have been so bad at it. Like, I have ADHD, ADD, and like, I knew I would suck at it. And part of me, I knew I wanted to have my own business. I was like, okay, it's gonna happen sometime. But I feel like I rather cut my expenses a little bit and kind of work a job that doesn't take all my time, that I'm miserable, because I genuinely don't know. I mean, and kudos to you guys that you're doing this with full-time jobs, because I don't know how I would have the strength and mental ability to be able to take on my small business after like 5 p.m. You know what I mean? So the fact that I was doing part-time, I was doing 4 hours a week. I had all mornings. Not 4 hours a week, 4 hours a day, because I was doing like 25 hours. So I would do 4 or 5 hours a day. So I would have mornings. I don't know. I feel like the fact that I kind of just decided like, okay, I was not trying to build a career because I didn't know what I wanted. I was not someone that was like, okay, I want to pursue marketing. I didn't even know if that was what I wanted. So I was like, okay, I'd rather take the pay cut and not make as much money, but I have just more time. It's kind of like a choice, right? Like, okay, I'm not really building a career. I'm just going to take on an hourly job and have time to dedicate to my small business. So that was what I was going to do. And honestly, I'm really lucky that I have an amazing husband. Like, Anthony really is amazing. Like he's.
I want to meet Anthony.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know what you guys are doing tomorrow, but if you guys are free, you guys should totally come to the show.
For the show, do you and Joe want to come?
Wait, I want to go.
Okay, I'll tell him. Yeah, Anthony really well. First, I did not work for a year because I couldn't. And Anthony fully supported us. And you guys may ask, how did that happen? We don't know. I feel like at the time, he has a song, California. By the way, check it out.
We'll tag him in the description.
Called California, and that song was streaming a lot at the time. So I definitely feel like that song literally supported us for a full year. So honestly feel that if he wasn't like that, I would have not been able to dedicate as much time in order to succeed in my business, you know?
We've talked about that in previous episodes too. It's like when you're surrounded by people, like people manifest things for you. When they believe things in you, you see it in yourself and it gives you the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's what Anthony did.
No,
but
100%.
You haven't shared the name of your company officially and the reason behind it.
Yes. So I have a dog accessories business, and it's based in Los Angeles, California. And my main products are leashes, collars, harnesses, kind of like apparel for dogs.
Really trendy.
Really trendy and cute, and also affordable. I feel like pretty affordable. And recently in January, I opened my retail location, brick and mortar situation. Super random. She knows the whole story of me opening a shop, but long story short, I did not plan on having a shop. This shop kind of came my way. Lucky girl syndrome.
This girl tells me on a call, she goes, so I think I'm gonna open a retail store. I'm just like touring a couple places. I swear, not even 2 weeks later, she's like, so I found a location. I'm getting in there next week. I'm like, Yolanda, what? Like, but that's how you are. You kind of just seize opportunities. It's like full stop, no second guessing yourself. And you're like, I can do this.
Yeah. Because I honestly have not had a situation in my life, thankfully. And I know not everyone has the same situation happen for them. But I feel like every situation that I've kind of just went for it, everything like worked out. But my mentality is always like, what's the worst that can happen? And I measure it. And like with me moving to America, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm 23 years old, at the time. I'm 23 years old. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out, and I go back to Portugal. My house is still here. My parents are still here. I can still get a job. What's the worst that can happen? Even with FURLOU, I'm like, okay, so when I actually quit my part-time job to do FURLOU full-time, it was really when things took off. The day that I started dedicating myself 100% to my business took on a whole another financial like situation. But yeah, I feel like everything, like I always measure what's the worst that can happen. Even with the store, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? Like if the shop doesn't work out, my rent for the 12 months, by the way, my conditions for my store are amazing, very, very low risk. And I literally was like, okay, the rent for 12 months are going to be this. If everything goes south, can I afford that and be fine? And I was like, yeah, okay, then I'll do that. And yeah, the best things always came from crazy decisions. So yeah.
Did you ever have like any major doubts on this like path to building your own small business? Like, was there any moments where you were like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I investing all this time, money?
No, never really. It took me a while to actually like start taking money from my business. I was putting all the money into the business, and thankfully, because I had another job that was providing at least for my bills and everyday expenses, so I didn't have to like, worry about my bills. So everything that I was making with FURLOU, I would say for the first year and a half, was putting back into the business, buying more products.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
Everyone says you do not profit for at least a year and a half.
Yeah. And also another thing with risks, I remember what I was going to say. I remember when I decided to take on FURLOU full time, I was on the phone with my friend and I was like, oh my God, but what if it doesn't work? What if I don't make any money and I can't sustain myself? I can't pay the bills. And I was literally thinking to myself, like, you know, it'll be fine. I'll get on my car and I'll start Uber Eats. Like, how hard would that be, right?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like we have these like this catastrophic mentality of like, oh my God, I quit my job. I'll never get another job like this. But like, you literally always figure it out. And it's easier than we think. I was literally like, I'm gonna Uber Eats. I'll be doing Uber. I'll Ubering people if I need to, whatever.
Are you a Sagittarius?
No, I'm not. I'm a Capricorn.
You're a Capricorn? Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Small
It
business
does?
owner. Okay. But I totally think that you're a Sagittarius. You're so optimistic and bubbly.
My
and
sister
like,
is a Sagittarius.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You very much seem like a people, like people person.
Yeah.
I just love your energy.
Yeah, I just
Thanks.
also think she's so like optimistic, and she just doesn't let her like mind trip her up. I think a lot of the reasons people don't do things, it's not because they can't, it's because they're telling themselves that they can't, or that they're afraid of failure. But we preach this all the time, like, you should be afraid of never testing and never trying, because that's doing yourself a disservice.
And it's so cliche what we're doing, right? Like, you should be like, and if you talk to people about like, oh, I see on TikTok all the time people doing interviews of like, what's one thing you would tell your younger self, whatever. And it's always like, people wish they took more risks and did more things and said more things and expressed more feelings and tried different things. So yeah, I feel like I'm good on that. I feel like I'm doing it. I feel like I've been taking the risks, and yeah.
It's so funny when I was like, Yolanda, as we were on like the subway ride over here. Why do I call it Subway? That's what it's called, right?
It's called the T.
The T. We're in Boston.
See,
it's called the T.
I say Subway. I don't know why I say Subway.
But I told her.
Technically it's a subway system, but like in Boston it's known
Train
as the T.
T.
But I told her,
It's
I was
wicked
like, I
cool.
never take this. This is the second time I've taken it. Both happen to be in the same week, but I don't remember the last time I took it, so very unfamiliar. But on the T over, I was like, Yolanda, like, do you want to know what we're talking about? She's like, no, I don't want to prep at all. I was like, okay, well, let me tell you the general theme. I'm like, you're a risk taker. And she's like, I am? I'm like, yeah, you are. And that's what we want to talk about, because you honestly are so inspirational. And I think anyone could take a really amazing piece from this and apply it into their life and whatever it means to them. And I know we're probably getting close to time, but I wanted to ask you, has there been like one thing that you did to your business or a decision you made that really like opened up doors beyond belief that you didn't realize would? So any surprise, and we may or may not be selfishly asking, because we're starting to really found ourselves as a business and starting to monetize. And I know you have an amazing TikTok and Instagram presence, so everyone has to follow her afterwards, especially if you loved adorable dog content. But do you have any like, you must do this, or something that was really shocking that brought you a lot of success?
Okay, you literally talked about TikTok, and it's the thing that I've been like, all right, keep doing TikTok. At least TikTok has brought me so much business. I probably get someone 5 times a week, oh, I'm here from TikTok, like at my shop. People will come in and they're like, I'm here from TikTok. And it's so hard to grasp like the amount of people that actually have access to your content, because like I have videos with millions of views. You guys, I think you guys have a pretty viral video too. Like I feel like TikTok is the platform, at least right now, of like, try with TikTok, because we have the ability with TikTok that we don't have with Instagram to reach to new people that we didn't have before. And that's an amazing opportunity for small businesses. And what I would really say, other than TikTok, but also within TikTok, it's like, you know, when you make content and you get like 300 views and you're like, oh, I just had so much work editing this, and like no one is seeing it. I have videos from 3 years ago that are now doing so well randomly. People are asking me about products that I had back in like 2020. And I'm like, how? Like, TikTok recycles videos and shows them to new people. And like, sometimes you're making a video and you think that video doesn't have a lot of importance, but that specific video target 1 or 2 or 3 people, and that person will buy from your small business, listen, will share with a friend, and it will have like so much impact. So like, although sometimes you do things and put in work that it doesn't seem that you're being rewarded right away, I feel like in the long run you're building something, right? You have to see it kind of like in the grand scheme of like, okay, you're building something. And I definitely feel that with TikTok. I've even had videos on TikTok that I've made and had like, I say 1,000 views, like if it's not a lot, it is a lot. But considering that I have over 100,000 followers, it's like not a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'll have like 1,000 views, and then 2 weeks later, it gets like 500,000. That has been happening to me lately. So
crazy.
it really is the proof of like, you never know the impact of the content that you're making. So just keep being consistent, keep making it. I feel like all the opportunities that I've had come from like TikTok lately. So.
All right,
yes.
That's good inspo.
Keep doing TikTok. I feel like you guys are doing really well. I always get served your content, by the way. I always see it. So
same, but I think it's because we follow you.
Yeah. Every time after I post, I'll scroll through our feed, and you have like 6 videos up.
Gotta do it.
Or at least that's on our feed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's been working well for us. Instagram Reels.
Has it been working for you?
Yeah, Instagram's been popping us off. We have like 5 or 6 videos that have
Almost
a couple over a million, a couple like high hundreds of thousands. That's like where all of our followers are.
That's
coming
amazing.
From.
See,
Yeah.
like I never had that.
We don't know why. Well, actually, the ones that pretty much all the ones that you posted are the ones
I
that
think
went
it like
viral.
has something on my phone.
I think it does too.
I think
'cause
it-
mine just don't hit, and it's so
Really?
sad.
I never had a viral video on Instagram ever. Like
Me
I've
either.
Never.
Never, ever, ever.
So that's really awesome. Like I never had and I will recycle my content from TikTok to Instagram, and they never performed well.
Those are the ones that are performing well for
Yeah,
you.
those
That's
are the
really
ones that
good.
are performing for some reason, but
So
I mean,
just
good.
happy.
Keep doing it.
yeah, we're
Keep-
gonna
if
just
it's
keep doing
working,
it,
should
plugging
test-
away.
Milk it.
Maybe we should test me sending my content to you and
Yeah.
you
We
posting
should.
it.
Let's try it.
Do Google Drive
I'm
so
like,
it
I
doesn't
need to
lose
contribute
quality.
some virality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, you bring on amazing guests.
I love
true.
it. Oh my
This
god, it
was
was
so
so
much
nice, guys.
fun.
This is my first podcast. I am so
Oh my
excited.
God, we're so honored to be your
I will be
first.
sharing it so much.
yeah,
Literally.
We'll send you the video so you can create your own content if you want to, but we'll
Yes,
also
no,
send you
send
whatever
me.
content that we
Yes.
actually create.
You guys send me like clips.
Yes.
Good ones.
Yeah.
So I'll share.
I'll send you the ones without the fat.
Cut the fat.
that.
We should end it like that, like cut the fat.
Iolanda, thank you so much for being here. This is like so random but so exciting that you're in Boston, and hopefully Ash and I get to go to Anthony's show to finally meet him and meet the amazing person that has enabled you to live in the States and be a business owner, and you would have done that anyway, but appreciate your time and your story, and
Thank
we
you.
love you.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
tag all of your content below, but for those listening, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram, TikTok at FURLOU. On TikTok, FURLOU, Instagram, FURLOU_, but you'll find FURLOU. And then my website is FURLOU.com. FURLOU.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was so great. You cut the fat.
Hear that. Thanks for listening, everyone.